We have to ask right now, because the very foundation of the social web that most of us grew up with, well, it's starting to show some really serious cracks.
Think about it. For what feels like forever, the internet was this kingdom ruled by a few tech giants. But that kingdom? It's starting to crumble. The walls are looking shaky, and the rulers are, well, they're scrambling to hold on.
So get this, $1 million. That's the prize that X, formerly Twitter, promised to a single creator. It's all part of this pretty desperate move to rebrand as a creator-first platform, trying to convince people that it's the best place to make a living online. It's a huge sign that even the giants are feeling the heat to either change or die.
But okay, if you think starting from scratch is easy, think again. Let's look at the flip side. You've got a platform like Truth Social. Its own 2024 annual report showed a net loss of over $400 million. They basically said, yeah, we expect to keep losing money for a while. It just goes to show you how brutally hard it is to build a real challenger.
So here's where we are. We're in this massive power vacuum. The old guard is fracturing, and rushing into that empty space are three totally different ideas about what the internet should be. It's like this three-way tug of war: top-down control, bottom-up freedom, and then this wild card that nobody really saw coming.
All right, first up in this fight, the regulators. You've got governments, especially over in Europe, looking at all the chaos and saying, nope, we've had enough. Their vision is very top-down. They think the answer is more rules, more oversight, and basically more control, all in the name of making the internet a safer place.
And that nickname says it all, doesn't it? The Digital Surveillance Act. That's what critics, including some folks inside the EU Parliament, are calling the European Union's Digital Services Act, or DSA. They're worried that while the goal is safety, what's actually being built is a huge framework for censorship.
Okay, let's break down how different this really is. In the US, you've got Section 230, which mostly protects platforms from what users post. But in the EU, the DSA forces the big guys to take down illegal content, including really vaguely defined hate speech, or they'll face these colossal fines. And the UK's Online Safety Act, it goes even further. It says platforms have to remove stuff that's harmful, even if it's perfectly legal. This is a total game changer, shifting all that responsibility onto the platforms themselves.
Okay, so that's the top-down vision. Now let's do a complete 180 and look at the polar opposite. While governments are writing rulebooks, there's this huge grassroots movement of developers building a brand new internet from the ground up. And their foundation? It's all based on decentralized blockchain tech.
And the really cool innovation powering this is something called Layer 3s. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine the main blockchain is a single, super congested highway. Instead of everyone being stuck in that one traffic jam, Layer 3s let developers build their own private, high-speed express lanes specifically for their app, whether it's for gaming or finance. They get total control over the speed, the tolls, the fees, and how it all works.
So here's how that whole stack looks. At the very bottom, you have Layer 1, like Ethereum. That's the bedrock, the security layer. Then, on top of that, you build Layer 2s to make everything faster and cheaper. And now we've got Layer 3s, which are custom-built for one specific job, like a gaming app. They get all the security and speed from the layers below, but they're perfectly tuned for what they need to do.
And look, this isn't just some far-off idea on a whiteboard. The money is flooding in. Back in 2023, Layer 2s had just under $4 billion locked in. Fast forward to October 2025, and that number skyrockets to roughly $47 billion. That's not just growth. That's a massive migration of money, developers, and actual users flocking to this new, more flexible kind of internet.
But here's the twist. While the regulators and the builders are locked in this ideological battle, a third player has just walked onto the field, and it's a total wildcard. Autonomous AI agents. We're not just talking about chatbots anymore. These things are becoming active, independent participants online, with the power to actually do stuff on their own.
And we have to be super clear about this difference. The AI we're all used to, like ChatGPT, is basically in a sandbox. It can create content, but it can't act. Agentic AI is a whole different beast. It's built to execute actions. It has both read and write access to databases, to APIs, so the risk isn't just someone spreading misinformation anymore. Now the risk is your entire system getting compromised or you losing real money.
This new power, of course, comes with some new and frankly terrifying threats. First up, something called memory poisoning. Imagine an attacker plants one tiny, malicious instruction into an agent's long-term memory.
The agent just learns it. Then, weeks later, it gets a totally normal request, but as it's working, it remembers that poison instruction and silently sends a payment to the attacker's wallet. It's literally a sleeper agent living inside your system.
Then you've got cascading failures. You have systems with multiple agents all talking to each other. If just one of them gets compromised and starts feeding bad data to the others, you get this chain reaction of errors. It's like a line of dominoes falling, but it's happening at machine speed, making it almost impossible to figure out where the problem even started.
And last but not least, there's non-human identity theft. Your AI agents use digital keys and certificates to prove who they are. If a hacker steals those credentials, they can perfectly impersonate your trusted agent. To your security system, it just looks like a valid request from a trusted source, so it opens the door and lets them right in.
So what happens when these three massive forces all slam into each other? You've got the super-regulated, top-down internet. You have the decentralized, bottom-up web. And then you have this unpredictable, agent-driven layer buzzing all around them. The thing is, no single one is going to win. Instead, they're all going to coexist, creating this fragmented digital future we're calling the Splinternet.
And believe me, these aren't just hypothetical threats. Security experts are already predicting that the most common attacks on these new AI agents won't even be some super complex new hack. No, it'll be as simple as tricking an agent into using its legitimate powers in a way it's not supposed to. You're not breaking the code, you're just manipulating the logic of what is essentially a non-human employee.
So this is really the key takeaway from all of this. The future isn't one single internet. It's more like a multiverse of internets. You'll jump from a highly censored, government-approved social network over to a decentralized game world running on its own custom blockchain, all while your personal AI agents are off in the background paying bills and booking flights for you. It's a collection of totally different digital realities, each with its own rules, its own risks.
And that leaves us with the one single question that's going to define this new era. In a world of fragmented realities with autonomous agents making decisions, who, or maybe more importantly, what, do you actually trust?